On the table in front of me is the XDJ-AN from AlphaTheta. This is their new standalone 2-channel controller, and it has been very divisive. In this video, I'm not going to give you the typical info that you're seeing in a lot of stuff that's already out there. We're not going to look at every setting and feature. We're not going to talk about all the nitty-gritty ways that you can adjust and set this thing up. I'm going to tell you what I think of this thing as someone who's been a DJ for over 15 years, who's owned a dozen different DJ controllers from tiny pocket-sized units all the way up to Pioneer DJ's flagship DJed SD2, which is still my workhorse 7 years later. I'm gonna tell you what they got right, what I don't think they got right, who I think this is best for, and whether or not it's worth adding to your setup. Let's get into it. Before I flip the camera overhead and show you it up close, let's talk about the big change, the elephant in the room. AlphaTheta has stripped away a lot of physical controls from the XDJ-AN. Its predecessor, the RR, looked like your standard DJ controller like AlphaTheta and Pioneer DJ have released in the past. Lots of buttons, lots of meters, lots of knobs, pretty typical. This is very, very streamlined. Now, a lot of that functionality still exists. They have just moved it to the touchscreen. Now, whether that's a good or bad thing is gonna be up to you. You have to keep in mind that they have tons of higher priced options for DJ controllers. And while this is not a cheap controller coming in over $1,000, I don't have the exact price. Click the link in the description, you can go see. This is definitely not aimed at their highest tier customers. And in fact, if you are getting into DJing, this is still something that you could pick up, which would give you a lot of the pro features, but in a simplified layout that you can learn. Now, if you're a seasoned DJ, that may not be what you're looking for, but don't stop there because I still want to tell you about what AlphaTheta got right on this thing. So let's put the camera overhead and take a look at it. Let's start with the exterior. This is an all plastic build as far as I can tell. If there's metal here, I don't know where it is, maybe on the inside, but the exterior is all plastic and thus it is pretty lightweight. Now, not as lightweight as controllers of the past because you are rocking a screen up here as well as, you know, the built-in computer power necessary to run all of this. But relatively speaking, this is pretty easy to transport, especially if you put it in like an EVA case or some sort of soft bag. Now, the front is very, very streamlined, i.e. you just have a headphone jack and it is a 1/8 inch, not your bigger 1/4 inch that you see on the more professional controllers. I don't think that's a make it or break it thing. Most headphones will come with an adapter, so no issue using that. Looking at the back of the controller, you can see we've got 2 USB-C inputs right here, one for your USB thumb drive and one for your laptop or tablet or phone. So this can be run standalone with songs on an external drive like that. You could plug this in and run it for Rekordbox, Serato, DJ, whatever DJ software you want to use. You can also hook it up to a phone or a tablet to use the DJ app. So if you're someone who DJs on the go, you travel, you want to just DJ in a pinch and keep this in your car so you can whip out your phone and play, you totally can do that with this controller, which is nice to see. I'm all about the flexibility. Over here on our outputs, we've got Master XLR outputs as well as Master 2, which are our RCAs. No booth outputs, which I think is a miss. Would have been nice to have that, but at least we've got our XLRs, which are the professional output option. We have a microphone input, single 1/4 inch, not XLR. Again, for a unit of this price, would have loved to have an XLR microphone input. And our power is USB-C also. So done away with the IEC power cable, which to me would be the industry standard for something over $1,000. Would have loved to see that. But again, consumer, this really seems consumer focused. USB-C is everywhere. They do include a nice cable in the box and you can always find another one for that. So it's not like it's a proprietary thing. All right, so our power button is up here on the right. I'm just gonna click that and you can see how quickly this thing comes to life. While we're doing that, let's talk about the layout. So we have our touchscreen right here in the middle, your master encoder knob, which is gonna be how you're gonna go through your tracks, go through your settings, you know, make adjustments. This does function also as a click wheel, so you can press it down to select things. We have 2 main setting buttons here, deck settings and mixer settings, which will take you to the majority of the things that you need to access while you're performing. Up here, we also have a back button to help navigate, as well as a tag track button that helps you in your library management. So this is what it's gonna come up to. We have source, browse, tag list, playlist, and search. Source is gonna show you, obviously, what you're using as your input. We've got our browse. Once you select your source, so we'll just use the USB, local library, go over to browse. I guess you have to click it, that's on me. There we go, we've got our browse. You can see right here, you can go by artist, album. You can also select with the touchscreen here, key, track whatever. We can go to playlists. We have some pre-built playlists. I can select my top 40 here. And it's a great looking screen. We've got our track previews right here, album art, track number, name, BPM, and key. And you can sort by those by clicking on the respective column, which is really, really nice. We can also search, obviously, if there's something specific we want. So the layout up here looks great. I'm just gonna grab a random song. We'll grab Dynamite. Clicking the encoder knob and selecting a deck will pull that onto the deck. Now let's talk about the other physical controls we have on this, because there are not as many as we're used to with the old Pioneer controllers. I personally, as a longtime DJ, am used to physical controls. And so having to jump to the screen to make a lot of changes is new to me. It's not my favorite, but if you're a brand new DJ, you're not gonna know any different. So maybe you'll get used to that workflow. Again, a lot of people making noise about this product, and I totally get it because I'm one of them, but we're people that are used to doing things a certain way. If you're a new DJ, if this is your entry into the DJ world, you can learn your own workflow, right? It's not the end of the world to have things laid out different. So for our decks, we have our jog wheel in the middle. Feels pretty nice. It's obviously not the mechanical jog wheel we get on the higher end CDJs and controllers. Above that, we have 8 hot cue pads. These are like a clicky plastic button as opposed to a rubber pad that we see like on the old DDJ SX and SC like I'm used to. But again, I mean, they're very responsive and you could totally, drum on these if you needed to. How they'll hold up over time, we'll see. But for me, they're plenty responsive for what I like to do. Right here, we've got our loop button, so we'll put it on that first cue, hit that, and that'll give us a quick 4-bar loop, which you can extend or shorten by turning the knob. Very intuitive, and even though that's different from my normal workflow, it works great. Now, I'm gonna zoom in my waveforms here by holding Shift and turning this knob. There we go, so you can see that waveform a little bit better. And again, the looping function works really, really well. Now, while we're seeing this, I will show you what the level meter is doing right here. We have 2 level meters, one for each side, and these are pre-fader levels. So this is just gonna show you what the track is doing cue-wise so you can get your trim correct, which is over here, excuse me. This is not gonna be like your master output. So you can see, even though my fader's down here, we're getting our levels. I wish we would have a master fade or a master volume, which we do, I guess, up here on the unit itself. If I bring that up, you can see here, now you can see we're getting some master levels up on the screen, but again, it's on the display. It's not physical anymore. So just something you have to get used to. To the left of the jog wheel, we have our cue and our play pause button. So I can hit cue, jump back there, and you can adjust the settings as to how these buttons react in the deck settings, which we'll look at in a moment. The pitch faders are quite short. They have a good weight to them, a good resistance with a center detent. No complaints about that. It is a little harder to dial in the exact pitch you need because of their length, but you get used to it pretty quick. In the center mixer section, each channel has a trim, which we highlighted, high, mids, and lows for your EQing, as well as your color effects. You can select your color effects up here in the screen. We've got 6 available: space, dub echo, crush, sweep, noise, and filter. I use filter the most, so I'm gonna keep mine on that. Now to the left, we've got Sonic Link. So one of the things that this controller has that we're seeing on the XDJ-AN is the Sonic Link. So this uses ultra low latency wireless connection to hook to a pair of headphones if you want to use wireless headphones. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's maybe like a gimmick. I don't know. The world's going wireless, but I think for people that are out gigging, you want to trust your wires probably more than you trust your wireless. But they have that built in, which is great. We have our cue selection, channel 1, channel 2, or your master, the cue mix, and the cue level. So all of your headphone stuff right here on this side. And then on the right side, we've got our beat effects. Again, you can select beat effects, echo, reverb, flanger right here. You can see on the screen that we've got changing as far as different parameters, the beats, the saturation of the reverb. You can apply that to channel 1, 2, or the master, and then you can change the depth and the level of the effect right here and turn the effect on and off, which you'll see with our button that is highlighted. That's the main layout here. We have our master volume up by the power button, and we have our microphone push to talk right here and our microphone level. Now the sound quality on this is quite nice. As I've been messing around with this, whatever sound card they have in here is working really well. I'm impressed by how it sounds just playing it through my monitors here in the studio. Nothing sound quality wise that would concern me, and even doing things like, really large tempo changes while keeping the key locked on. It sounds good. There's not really any degradation of the sound. And so the processing speed inside of this is great. And as you can see, really responsive, like no noticeable latency that I can detect. Now, when it comes to the faders here, these channel faders are pretty weighted and they're not adjustable. So if you're someone who mixes with the up faders, that may take some getting used to. The crossfader is nice and loose. It is not as responsive of a crossfader for scratching as my DJed SC2, which costs $1,000 more back in the day. But trying to do like crab scratches and things like that with this is a little bit tougher. But again, it may just be the fact that I haven't DJed on this, and so I'm just still getting used to it. But I was able to do quite a bit of scratching, you know, even if it was more basic. Let's go up to some of our settings. Again, we're not gonna go through every one of them, but hitting mixer settings allows you to adjust your mic EQ, whether you have talk over on or off. You can select whether your EQs are isolating or on like more of a curve. You can select the channel fader curve and the crossfader curve all on here. It has Bluetooth input and output. Interesting choice. Bluetooth input makes sense if you need to stream some background music when you're not actively DJing, if you're a wedding DJ or something like that. Bluetooth output, I'm trying to think of a reason. The delay is gonna be too much to like do a lot of really fancy mixing on. And if you're at a professional gig, I wouldn't trust Bluetooth output anyway. But for a practice section, maybe. But again, you wanna have no latency when you're practicing. So I don't know, there's a reason for it. And I'm sure someone smarter than me that built this has a reason for it. Headphones can be mono or stereo. You can change how loud the preview is on the track when you touch it and listen to the thing before you play it. Sonic link on or off, which I'm not using mine right now. And you can record right to the USB, which is really great. You can also record to the record app, which is great. So if you want to record this, send it off to your phone, you can do that as well. Let's switch over, take the mixer settings off, go over to our deck settings right here. Things like your quantized beat value, whether cues are auto, how fast your vinyl adjustment is, you know, when you play and pause, how fast it starts and slows down. You can change your brightness of your screen here, which is really nice, what your waveform looks like, the mode for each of the decks, the tempo range, which actually, +10, +6. I think +6 would probably be easier with these shorter pitch faders. And then, you know, just kind of jumping back out of this, you've also got a way, you got to hit your little menu hamburger here. You click utility, and then that takes you to a different view of all of these settings. So you can see right here, master attenuator, headphone settings, you've got your Wi-Fi settings. This is able to stream music from your Dropbox, your Google Drive. You can use the Cloud Direct Play to work on playlists here in the controller, and then it will automatically sync them up with your crates online, which is really, really great. Now I'm locked into my ecosystem of USB drives and my laptop and things like that. But again, like I think the cloud's the future. So if you want to have this talking with your online music storage, it's going to be really great for that. So a lot more settings here in this general utility menu. And again, you can back out of it and get mixing. So who is the XDJ-AN for? Well, if we're going off of the online discussion, probably not experienced DJs. Now, I'm pretty excited about this thing, even as someone who owns the old flagship DJed SC2 and loves it, and it works perfectly for me. As a backup option, as a second mixer option, as something that I can take in a small case with a USB stick and play anywhere at a moment's notice, I really like that. The laptop is great, but it is a hassle for at least for me to get music onto my laptop, organize it, set it up. With this and wireless syncing capability, it can be ready to go at a moment's notice, which I really like. If you're a new DJ, AlphaTheta's whole thing is that this is getting you ready and set up for their club level gear, as far as the layout of how the buttons are, how the mixer section is. Now, let's not sugarcoat it. It's very stripped down. So is this properly preparing you for those big, high level, expensive mixers, CDJs, controllers? I don't know, but you at least get to learn the basics of how they lay out their gear. So if you're gonna get indoctrinated into their ecosystem, which is the club standard, this is a good way to do it. It's built well, it's responsive, like even though it's plastic, it's got some heft to it. In the past, I've called lights from Ape Labs the Apple of DJ lighting, and I would say the same thing for the XDJ-AN. This is the Apple controller of DJ controllers. It's straightforward, it's simple to use, it's got a pretty basic but intuitive layout. It has all of the online support, the streaming services, the Beatport and Tidal and Apple Music, so that you could really just get started without having to buy a lot of other gear. All you need is the controller and your favorite streaming service, and you can start playing on this thing, or your tracks in an online library like Dropbox or Google Drive. Overall, despite its divisive physical layout, it works and it works well. And I really haven't found a reason to not like this thing just based on how it's functioning. It's very intuitive, and as someone who has not used a controller except for my 7 or 8-year-old DJed SC2, I was able to jump into this and start playing in a matter of minutes. So if you want to read more about it, I'll include a link down below in the description. You can go check it out there. If you liked this video, please like it and subscribe, ring the notification bell so you don't miss any reviews coming in the future, and leave a comment. Did AlphaTheta get this one right? Is there something you want to see them change in a future version? What are the highlights of this controller for you? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.